Hey there, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast, the show that's all about helping photographers just like you build a thriving business without sacrificing your sanity. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, a former teacher turned full-time photographer and marketing coach, here to fill your earbuds each week with practical tips, real-life stories, and a whole lot of encouragement. So if you're ready to dive in, let's get to it because this girl means business. Hey, friend, and welcome back to the Girl Means Business podcast. Okay, because I love a good series, and I know the last series I did, I got a ton of feedback from y'all saying that you really enjoyed it. So because of that, I've decided to do another little mini series here for you on the know, like, and trust factor. Now, originally, I was going to have this just be one big episode, but the more I thought about it, the more I was like, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot of information that can be utilized over time. Like, it's not something you're probably going to have happen overnight. So why don't I just go ahead and break it up into mini episodes so that you're not feeling overwhelmed and I don't feel like I'm just shooting a fire hose of information at you. So I'm going to break it up into 3 episodes, starting with know, moving into like, and then building trust. Now, if you're not familiar with the know, like, trust factor, it's basically this tried and true marketing principle where your potential clients have to go through these 3 stages before they decide to hire you, work with you, or spend their money on you. So know is they become aware of who you are. Your visibility is out there. Like is they resonate with your brand or your personality or something about your business. And then trust is that they believe that you can deliver on what you promise. And this framework has been shown throughout decades and decades of marketing to be a tried and true result of how kind of this natural progression that your potential clients go through. And this can happen quickly or it can happen over time. But in the long run, what I've always seen is that if I have a coaching client or someone in my membership that is struggling to get clients, and we start going through their processes, through their marketing strategies, it always, always, always comes back to they're missing some part of the know, like, or trust factor. They're trying to jump straight from know to trust, and they're missing the like. Or even more commonly, they are missing on the know piece, the visibility factor in their business. And that is a huge, huge piece of what is causing some frustration with a lot of photographers is they're like, I'm doing all the things, but their visibility is off. And so in order for all of this to work well, you have to have all 3 pieces in place. So over the next couple episodes, we're going to go through each piece of this and break down what the know, like, and trust pieces are and how you can implement them into your marketing, into your business. The best part about this is, as usual, if you're new here or if you haven't been listening for a while, I focus a lot on non-social media strategies. And I have some thoughts on social media, some new thoughts that have just come up recently that I will share with you when we get to that portion of this episode. But for the most part, just know that if you're listening to this and you are diehard social media marketing, this probably isn't the episode you're looking for. But if you are someone who is feeling burned out, overwhelmed, just kind of done with social media, then I think this will give you some really great ideas on how to market your business without relying on social media. Okay, so let's get into the first piece of this series, which is know. And I like to replace the word know, K-N-O-W, not N-O, just so we're clear. I like to replace it with the word visibility. And what I have found through working with multiple photographers over the years is that a lot of times when someone says, "Oh, I've been doing all the things and I'm just not getting clients. I'm not getting people to book with me. I don't understand what's happening." One of the things that I always come back to is that their idea of doing all the things, they're missing this vital piece of, are you actually getting in front of your ideal clients? Because if your ideal clients don't know who you are, they don't know you exist, they can't hire you. So this is like starting from the very, very, very beginning. Step number 1 is you have to be thinking about how can I create visibility around my brand. Now, if you've been here a while, you're probably going to remember me telling this story, but I'm going to say it again. When I started my photography business, this was back in 2010. So social media was not really the thing that a lot of businesses were utilizing to grow their marketing. It was starting to get to that point. It was starting to become a little bit more of a thing. Instagram was still like brand new. And if you posted anything that wasn't a like iPhone photo, people just threw shade. So it wasn't really something you were utilizing. Now, Facebook was becoming more and more usable, user-friendly when it came to marketing. But again, it was still really brand new. So there were professional like business pages, but you didn't really see a ton of marketing from that perspective. It was more of just kind of like, here's my information, come find me if you want to. And so when I started my photography business, I started a Facebook page and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to start this Facebook page and I'm going to share it on my personal page. I was teaching at the time, so I was kind of being really careful about how often I was sharing it because I didn't want it to, interfere with my teaching or, again, side note, when social media first came around in the teaching world, there was this sort of stigma that you had to basically have no presence on social media. And if you did, you could not be Facebook friends with any of your students' parents. You really couldn't even let them know you existed online. There was a lot of like I remember being in so many staff meetings where they were talking about like, please do not add your kids' parents on Facebook. Like, we want to make sure we maintain separation. And now nobody cares. Everybody's friends with everybody on Facebook. It's wild. But that gives you kind of an idea of where social media was when I was starting my photography business. So, having said that, I had this idea. I was like, I'm going to start this Facebook page. I'm going to put it out there. I will share about it every once in a while on my personal page, but it's going to go up there and everybody's going to see it and they're all going to just like come running to book with me. It was the if you build it, they will come mentality. Okay. The Field of Dreams mentality. The problem is I built it and no one came because my whole approach to visibility was off. I genuinely thought that if I created this Facebook page, this Facebook profile, business profile, and I just let it live on the internet, that it would somehow magically show up in front of the right people who needed to see that Facebook page. And that's not how the algorithm worked then, and it's certainly not how it works now. And so this idea of if I build it, they will come has increasingly gotten less and less reliable. You have to actively be putting your business in front of your ideal clients. Now, here's where I want to talk a little bit about social media. And one of the many, many reasons that I do not feel that social media is one of the best places for visibility. So here is what I see happening with social media. And I see this happening as in I see it in my Facebook groups, I see it in my coaching clients, I hear it from my coaching membership clients, I hear it from photographer friends that I hang out with. The consensus is, and the comment that keeps being made is, I am so frustrated with social media. I post and I post and I post, and only like 20 people see my content. Okay. Since when did having 20 people see your content become a bad thing? Like, this is what blows my mind about social media. And just as kind of an aside, those of you that have listened for a while, you know my heart, my feelings around social media. I have become increasingly less and less interested in social media, both professionally and personally. I have deleted the apps off my phone. I have limited how many times a day I'm even accessing them on my computer. There's so many things about social media that I am kind of rebelling against right now. And I don't think I'm the only one. I do think that there is a trend around people who are kind of over social media. Now, as consumers and as creators, I will put it goes kind of both ways. So one of the problems I'm seeing with social media that I think is creating part of the problem is that everyone now seems to think that there is this standard that you need to be having your content seen by tens of thousands of people in order to be considered successful. So, what happens is you go on social media, let's just say Instagram, for example. You go on Instagram, you see this photographer who is on Instagram, and she's a family photographer, and you admire her work, and you go and you notice that she has, 18,000 followers, which is a lot. 18,000 is a lot. And now you're comparing yourself to her and those 18,000 followers. Or you look and you see that her reels are getting, 10,000 views, 12,000 views, things like that. And again, you're comparing yourself to now this person. The problem is, one, those 18,000 followers, we don't know if those are actually people that are going to be hiring her. If she is a family photographer, unless she's living in like New York City or Los Angeles and there's really 18,000 people in the city following her that are potential clients, which I highly, highly doubt, majority of those people following her are not going to be people that she is actually going to work with. There's probably a good portion of them that are other photographers looking at her work and admiring her work. Or possibly she also is an educator in the photography space. And so she has a lot of photographers following her for that reason.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Imagine this. It's a Wednesday morning. You've just finished listening to a podcast episode, maybe even this one, and your head is swirling with so many new ideas for your business. But at the same time, you're feeling a little overwhelmed and confused on what actually you need to be focusing on, or if these new ideas you have are even worthwhile. Now imagine that in the midst of your overwhelming confusion, you can pick up your phone and directly message your personal marketing coach to get clarity, feedback, and inspiration to help you know exactly what's going to keep you on target to grow your unique photography business. Well, the good news is that's exactly what you're going to be able to do very soon inside of my newest offer, the Greenhouse. The Greenhouse is a personalized coaching membership that allows you direct access to me as your marketing coach for your business, along with a community of other photographers there to cheer you on, support you, and be with you every step of the way. Now, if you are just looking for quick fixes, viral hacks, or another online course that you'll probably never finish, then this is not the place for you. But if you are tired of feeling like you're doing everything on your own, you're craving real support, community, and clear direction in your business, then you belong inside the Greenhouse. However, the founding member launch is going to be very short window of time and very exclusive. So if this is something that sounds like what you need in your business, I would love for you to join the waitlist so that you get early access along with some exclusive bonuses. So head down to the show notes, click the link, and get signed up. I cannot wait to see you inside the Greenhouse when the doors open soon. Those are not going to become potential photography clients of hers. If you also look at her audience, you might see that there is only a small portion of those people who are actually the people that she wants to have her business in front of in order to get her paying photography clients. So this idea that we need to be getting tens of thousands of followers and thousands of views in our content, it just doesn't make sense because you don't need that many views and you don't need that many followers to be successful in your space. With social media, we have opened up our small local business to a global audience. Well, why does your small local business need a global audience? Why do you want people viewing your content that are not in your area if your goal is to get clients in your area? So if you have a couple thousand followers and your content's getting viewed by a few, 10, 20, 30, maybe even 100 people in your local area, that's a win. Like that is a win because I would much rather have those people see my content than 1,000 people who are spread out across the globe who have no interest in working with me. And yes, you might have the one-off example of someone who's like, well, my reel went viral and I had someone fly from another state to come work with me. That's great, but that's an exception to the rule. And that is not going to get you consistent clients. So when it comes to visibility in social media, I am all for saying, like, yes, create a presence on social media. If you want to maintain a presence on social media, do it, but do it in a whatever way feels sustainable to you. Do not let social media be the visibility piece that completely drains you so that you have no time or effort or energy for anything else in your business. It's not that important. In my experience, in my over, 14 years of being in photography, well, 15 years now of being in photography business, it's not that important. And I was listening to an interview the other day with someone who's been in business as long as I have. And they asked her the same question, when did this anti-social media thing kind of come about in your business? And what makes you, feel confident in this? And she's like, you have to remember that when I started my business, social media was not really even a thing. And it's very true. And if you're a younger photographer who grew up with social media in your world, it might feel a little different, but this is me giving you permission to say that in this episode where I'm talking about visibility and how to get your business in front of your ideal clients, social media is not the number one way to do it. It is a way, but it is not the only way. So I want you to release yourself from those shackles of that pressure of feeling like you need to be on the platforms. If creating TikTok videos just completely makes you want to like pull your hair out and throw your computer and your phone across the room, then don't do it. If trying to remember to take behind the scenes videos at every single session has you feeling frustrated, or it's causing you to, not focus so much on your client experience, you're so focused on this content, then stop doing it. Like, I'm giving you permission to lean into the things that are actually going to help you feel like you're doing more in your business without sacrificing these other things like your sanity. Okay, so all of that's my social media. So, and I could go into so many more conversations. If you are someone who loves to talk about the dark side of social media, then I'm your girl, because I will talk anybody I can out of using social media as much as humanly possible. Okay, so let's move on. So if social media is a tool, but not the tool for visibility, then what are some of the other things that you could be doing? So I want to come back to this idea of you are a local business, okay? You are a local service-based business for the people in your community. So you need to be visible within your community. And if I had a crystal ball and I could predict what the future of sort of the photography space was going to be, I think that this aspect of the visibility piece is what is going to now separate the photographers who are serious about growing a business from the ones who are just kind of passively growing their business. Because this part requires you to actually get off the couch and go out into the world and create connections with other humans. And there is a whole generation, not just age generation, but there's a whole generation of people out there who have increasingly become less and less social, and they want to hide behind their Instagram or their Facebook feeds. They want to hide behind what they put on their website. And there's tons of things you can do from the comfort of your couch to grow your business. But I really honestly believe that if you want to set yourself apart from what everybody else is doing and stand out in your space, then you're going to have to be visible by building actual human connections. And this is something that, again, none of these things are going to happen overnight. If you are looking for overnight success or overnight, fill your calendar in 24 hours, then this is not the place to learn that in this episode, because these are things that are going to have a longer shelf life, but that are also going to be things that you can then grow from and build from over time, and it will just multiply from there. So what do I mean when I say build actual connections? I want you to think about how you can network within your community. And this can look like several different things. It can look like collaborating with other businesses who share a similar audience as you. And I've talked about this and I've had episodes about this, where collaborating is a great way to cross populate your audience with someone else's. And so in that instance, you wanna go and you wanna find brands in your community who serve or who have a similar clientele to what you're looking for. So let's say you are a newborn maternity photographer, and you know that in your local area, there is a yoga studio or a massage therapist who specializes in prenatal yoga or prenatal massage. Then go and build a relationship with them. Reach out to them and say, "Hey, I would love to do headshots for you, or even like create some really beautiful images for you to put in your space in your studio. And in return, I was wondering if maybe you could share about my information in your email list, or let me put up information in your lobby or at your front desk." Finding ways to collaborate like that can be really, really beneficial. The other thing you can do is become involved in community events. This could be as simple as set up a booth at a local vendor event. There's several that go on in the holiday season at high schools, local communities. Go and rent a booth space and collect emails or do a giveaway or hand out items with your information on it. That's a great way to create connections and to build awareness around your brand. And if you really wanna go crazy and you think like that's good and great, but I wanna do something even like more specific to my audience, then create your own events. They don't have to be huge events. Again, you don't need hundreds of people to attend these events. You just need 10 or 15 of your ideal clients to attend. And so set up your own event. If you're a family photographer, create like a little homeschool play date where kids can come and learn how to take pictures. Teach families how to do photography on their iPhones. Or, maybe you really love to garden and you could create like a fun little like family gardening class, and they can come learn about gardening. And then you take pictures of them learning about gardening and you send them out to everybody that came. And oh, by the way, you do photography. Like there's so many ways that you can create these things that if they don't exist, that you want to be a part of. Now, a couple of things that I haven't touched on yet that are also really great for visibility, things like blogging, SEO, search engine optimization, making sure you have a Google My Business profile set up so that you show up when someone Googles in your area. Email marketing, which guys, I know you've heard me talk so much about email marketing, so I'm not even going to go there today. Just know that that is the top of my list. And then the last thing I want to mention is referrals and word of mouth. This kind of goes back to the idea of you have to create in-person connections. Once somebody works with you and they've seen your process and they've seen your client experience, the goal is that they'll love it so much they will want to go tell everybody about what you've done. There's two sides to this coin. One is you want them to have had such a great experience that either A, they become repeat clients, which if you are a newborn maternity or family photographer, that's a lot easier for you to focus on. Weddings, seniors, boudoir, headshots maybe too, but that kind of stuff, that's a little bit harder to get repeat clients because it's not as commonly used multiple times a year. However, if you've created a great enough experience that your clients want to come back to you, then over time, you're going to need less and less new clients. So by really building out that client experience that gets people coming back time and time again, you're just building this like revolving door of people coming into your business that you can rely on year after year after year. The other side of that coin is then they want to share with their other family and friends. So having a referral program in place where they earn rewards, where they earn something in exchange for sharing your information. And then whoever they refer maybe gets a small discount or extra images in their gallery or however you want to set that up. Those can be really beneficial too for, again, limiting your need to go outside of your community, letting other people kind of do some of the legwork for you. But also it has to come back to the experience that you provide has to be high enough caliber that they want to come back or they want to refer their family and friends to you. So all of those pieces can work together, but ultimately what it comes down to is quality over quantity. So you want to focus less on how can I go viral? How can I reach tens of thousands of people? You can't photograph tens of thousands of people in a year. Like, let's logistically break this down number wise. So just to get an idea in your head, let's say you can do 2 family sessions a week without going crazy. So that's 8 sessions a month. 8 times 12 is what, 96? That's less than 100 sessions a year. So why do you need 10,000 people to see your content when you only need 100 families? And then let's break it down even further. Let's say that over time, you get 30 families who come back to you every fall. And you know you can book those 30 families every single fall, whether it's for mini sessions or full sessions. Then you now only have to reach 70 new people. Now, let's say that those 30 people have started all referring their family and friends. And so now you get another 15 people. So now you're up to 45, okay? 45 repeat clients. It snowballs over time. Do you see how this works? Like, ultimately, your goal is that you create this effect to where you don't have to be constantly marketing your business and getting so much visibility. Your visibility scale shrinks over time because your retention and the things that you've put into place that are starting to really work in your favor are all coming together, and they create this beautiful mixture where you're not having to put so much energy into how can I get my face in front of people? It's now, how can I make sure the people that I'm serving are getting the best experience possible, which is what you signed up for in the first place when you wanted to become a photographer. So how can we get you back to doing more of that? It all comes down to this visibility piece. Okay, so that is part 1 of the Know, Like, and Trust Factor series. It's the know. And your homework assignment for this week is to really evaluate your visibility strategy in your business. What are you currently doing to get your name in front of your potential clients? And we didn't even really touch on so many other aspects of this. There's, marketing materials where it's flyers or QR codes or business cards, things like that. I want you to really evaluate, like, what are the things you're doing on a daily and a weekly basis that is getting you in front of people in your community? Because that's the key. It's not reaching the masses. It's not going viral on a social media global platform. How are you getting your business visible in front of your local community that are going to be the people that hire you? And then next week, we're going to dive into the like piece and then ultimately the trust piece. And we'll see how all of these things come together to create this really incredible marketing strategy within your business. As usual, if you have thoughts, ideas, or questions on this episode, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on Instagram at Girl Means Business, or better yet, email me at kendra@girlmeansbusiness.com. I always love having conversations in my inbox, so feel free to reach out with any thoughts, questions, or ideas. In the meantime, I hope you have an amazing week, and I will see you back here next week, same time, same place.